Just ahead, the changes the Columbia School Board is considering for public comment during meetings.
And we're watching showers and thunderstorms in central Missouri, a track in my first alert forecast.
And how you will get to weigh in on the construction of the new Columbia Regional Airport Terminal. This is KOMU 8 News at 9.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Well, some changes could be coming for how future Columbia School Board meetings are held. KOMU 8's Sean Carrier is live at the Columbia Schools Administrative Building tonight. And Sean, how's it going there? What's the deal?
Taylor, the Columbia Public School Board suggested changes to the public comment section for future meetings. Such changes include requiring speakers to pre-register before the meeting. An individual cannot speak at 3 consecutive meetings in a row, and only comments about the approved agenda will be accepted. School Board President David Seaman says this isn't designed to limit participation. He says it will allow the board to focus more heavily on their main goal.
During COVID, what we discovered was that our meetings were being consumed with things outside of student achievement.
School Board President David Seaman also says this proposal will be passed off to the Policy Committee for revisions and be brought up at the next meeting in September. Live in Columbia, Sean Carrier, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Sean. And if your kids go to a CPS school and you missed early enrollment, now's the time to act. There are a few things you can do now to get your student ready. You can go ahead and fill out and update your student's health information, specify if your child will need bus transportation for the school year, fill out the free and reduced lunch application if needed, read through the handbook and the technology use agreements. And a CPS spokesperson says transportation registration ended today, so if you have not yet enrolled, you may not have transportation for the first week of school.
We have more than 9,000 students that ride the bus, and each one of them has to be individually routed. And so we need sufficient time to be able to do that. Anybody who's late, we won't be able to guarantee that they have transportation that first week.
She asked for the community to be patient with CPS as they navigate this new year. And you can find a link to enroll or add your child to the transportation list on our website at KOMU.com. The search for a missing man in Boone County is over. This morning, the Boone County Fire Protection District, Sheriff's Office, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol recovered his body at Rocky Fork Lakes Conservation Area at approximately 8:40 this morning. He's reported to have drowned in the lake after he was believed to have been fishing with his friends. Investigators say the man is 61-year-old Michael Smith from St. Louis. Yesterday afternoon, Boone County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to the lake to investigate a missing person report after 2 people realized their friend was missing. The Boone County Sheriff Protection District and Missouri State Highway Patrol responded to the scene to help with the search and recovery efforts. By night, it turned from a search and rescue to a search and recover operation as they began to suspect Smith had drowned.
And so the body's been turned over to the medical examiner's office. The Boone County Medical Examiner's Office investigator responded to the scene, and the body's been turned over to them pending an autopsy.
At this time, there is no indication of foul play. What comes next is the investigation where the sheriff's office will work to fill the gaps in the timeline of events. And a Jefferson City woman died in a motorcycle accident on Friday, contributing to a rising number of accidents like this in Missouri. Chantel Giannino died in a motorcycle accident just after 11 Friday night, just west of Route CC on Highway 54 after a car changed lanes and hit her in Zion Grimes. The National Highway Safety Administration says motorcyclists are 28 times more likely to die in a crash than someone driving a car.
It's tragic, and she had so much to live for, and she was just so happy with life, and she was always supportive of everyone, and she was a very awesome person.
The Missouri State Highway Patrol says Missouri has more motorcycle deaths than most of the nation, ranking 7th in motorcycle mortality. And in national news, the family of Gabby Petito is filing a lawsuit against police. They're accusing police of failing to properly investigate her domestic violence case and protect her. Petito was found dead in Wyoming last year after embarking on a cross-country trip with her fiancé Brian Laundrie. At one point, they were traveling through Moab, Utah, when police responded to a call where a witness said he saw the couple involved in a domestic dispute.
This is just bringing back a lot of pain. Sorry. We just want to help people. We're going to do whatever we can. And that's why we're here.
The lawsuit is in addition to another suit filed by the Petito family in Florida against Laundrie's parents that accuses them of hindering the search for their daughter and alleging they knew Laundrie killed Petito. And coming up, you will soon get to weigh in on the improvement projects for the Columbia Regional Airport. Plus, a victory for President Biden. We'll tell you about the bill the senators passed to fight inflation. Welcome back. The Inflation Reduction Act passed in the Senate this weekend, and this bill includes more than $300 billion for energy and climate reform. It would also allow Medicare to directly negotiate the price of prescription drugs for the first time, and it creates a 15% minimum tax on corporations making at least $1 billion in income. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says it took a while, but it's passed.
It was a long night, it was a long month, it was a long year, but we got it done. The last 6 weeks have been one of the most productive 6 weeks in legislative history in decades.
The bill passed in the Senate because of a tie-breaking vote from Vice President Kamala Harris after no Republicans supported it. It's set to go to the House later this week. And Equifax sent lenders incorrect credit scores for millions of people this spring. This happened during a period of about 3 weeks, and the company blamed it on a coding issue. That could have led to higher rates for some people or even prevented others from getting loans. Experts say it's a reminder that consumers should routinely check their credit history for any suspicious activity or errors. And as we get closer to the opening of Columbia's new terminal, you will soon get to weigh in on more plans for the airport. That's coming up next after the break. Here's what's happening right now. Heavy rains drenched South Korea's capital region, turning the streets of Seoul's affluent Gangnam district into a river. It submerged vehicles and overwhelmed public transport systems. At least 7 people were killed and 6 others went missing. And progress is being made on building a new terminal at Columbia Regional Airport. And this week, people will be able to ask questions about it and weigh in on the progress. KMUH Rachel Henderson is in the studio here with an update on how the public can get involved with the project. Rachel?
Taylor, you may remember a couple weeks ago when we had a behind-the-scenes look at the new terminal, which is expected to open next month. But the airport will soon enter the second phase of construction. That means moving a lot of what's in the old terminal to a completely new building. As a refresher, some Phase 1 additions include more gates, a restaurant, and a mother's room. Phase 2 involves repurposing the building that was previously used for the Airfield Flight Service Station to contain rental car counters, TSA offices, and airport administration offices. Plus, there will be improvements made to the parking lot adjacent to the building. I spoke with a couple people knowledgeable about the construction process who see the improvements as beneficial.
When Phase 1's complete, people will still rent their cars in the old terminal. When Phase 2 is complete, you'll be able to go into, you'll walk on a covered walkway into this new facility or reconstructed facility and rent a car. They have a lot more room.
We think that by bringing in a new terminal, we'll see even more growth, both from passenger demand and from the airlines wanting to come in and service the area.
The airport manager says he expects Phase 2 to be complete sometime in 2023. If you have comments or questions about the project, airport officials will be hosting a discussion about it on Wednesday at 4 p.m. at City Hall. Visit KMU.com for more information about location details. In the studio, Rachel Henderson, KMU8 News.
All right, thanks, Rachel. And speaking of airports, air travelers have faced a miserable weekend getting around, and today wasn't much better. More than 300 U.S. flights were canceled, and there were more than 1,100 delays. That's according to FlightAware. In many cases, weather was to blame, like in Chicago, which was impacted the most after heavy rain and flash flooding. Also, travelers are feeling the effects of airline staffing shortages and air traffic control delays. And in other news, after a long period of high heat and low rain, Southwest Missouri is seeing an increased amount of weather-related issues. The entire area is experiencing droughts, and multiple burn bans are springing up across the Ozarks. Local firefighters report an uptick in grass fires in many southwestern counties. The area is expecting increased rainfall this week, but weather experts feel the level of rain won't be enough.
This topsoil will actually get pretty hard, and it'll get cracked, and it'll almost function just like pavement or a parking lot. So to really get a good break in the drought with heavy rainfall, you really need long soaking rains to allow that moisture to soak in.
Experts at the National Weather Service want to remind residents that August is one of the drier months of the year. They also warned locals that it could get worse before it gets better. And Missouri Task Force 1 will be staying in Kentucky a little longer. The Boone County Fire Protection made that announcement yesterday on Facebook. The team will remain ready for any critical mission. Task Force 1 expects to only be in the area for another 2 days. They continue to help in cleanup and search and rescue missions. I am so excited about tomorrow's weather, Matt. Oh my gosh. So
much cooler, much lower humidity as well.
I'm thinking pool day, and hopefully for you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching.
Have a good evening.